Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing something that makes me nervous. By this point you have already seen our pregnancy announcement, and by this point it is still a secret when I'm filming this. I'm definitely not waiting till a certain week to tell you. It's just, so I'm a little nervous, honestly, to film this, and this is technically the second time that I'll be filming this, and there's a huge time gap when the first time was filmed. So I'm sure by this point you have already seen our pregnancy announcement. And if you have ever had a loss before, then you know that with any pregnancy you're a little nervous. I did see something last night that Heather Lindsay posted, and I had to share it. And it was something along the lines, let me find it. So I seen this last night, and if you have gone through the same thing, if you're going through the same thing, I wanted to read this to you, and it's taken me so long to film this, and I'll explain all of that. But let me go ahead and read this. It says, "I will trust God. I will not overthink. I will not worry. I will not stress out. I will believe the best. I will trust God's timing. I hear God's voice. He gives me wisdom. I will rest in Him today." So I seen that last night, and it came at the most perfect time because I had a little bit of spotting, not even enough. If I had to feel a Q-tip, I wouldn't have felt a Q-tip. You know what I mean? It wasn't enough, but just the fact that I seen any period made me so nervous, and all of those feelings started rushing back from our miscarriage in 2007. I know that came as a surprise to a lot, and I mean a lot of you, if not 90% of you, or 95, because I can count on both hands how many people knew about the miscarriage. If you don't know me personally, and I still feel like people that know me personally don't know this about me, is the fact that I try to avoid all sad, emotional things. I want to be positive, I want to be happy, I want to spread that all the time. I don't like to show that stuff. Now, I am not against sharing parts of our life that I'm rolling my eyes about, and I'm the struggle is real. I don't mind sharing that, because obviously we all know the struggle is real sometimes. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I have to be vulnerable and open up, and maybe I know something's going to make me cry, or it's going to make me emotional in a sad, emotional kind of way, I tend to push that to the side, and I avoid it at all cost. And that was what our miscarriage was. And sadly, I filmed all of this. And if you've been following me since Vlogmas, then you know I lost everything. And it wasn't the fact that I lost everything, and people really didn't understand why it was so sad for me to lose all of my stuff on that hard drive. But because I had filmed our whole trying to conceive journey from March of 2007, me taking pregnancy tests almost every single month while we were trying. I filmed all of that. I filmed after our miscarriage. I sat down in front of the camera and opened up and was vulnerable. And I never shared it. I couldn't even watch it. I could not even get to the point of editing it because it made me so sad. And I got to that point to where I thought that, okay, when I get to be pregnant again, then I'll be able to share this, because then I have happy news to drown out that sad news. And then it got to the point that some people that I trusted ended up taking that news and spreading it and telling other people within our YouTube community. And then I felt threatened to open up and tell y'all, because I would have rather told y'all than it coming from somebody else. And it's really sad that we have those kind of people in this community that would run and tell your private business to other people, people that you trusted, and they would do something like that. So that really sucked. And a really good friend of mine here in the community was like, do not feel pressured. This is your story. When you are ready, you can tell it. If you've never endured a loss before, and I hope and pray that you never do, you never have to feel that kind of pain. It doesn't matter how long you got to be pregnant, or just, I feel like immediately, and I'm going to speak for me, immediately when I seen that extra line on that pregnancy test, I was a mama. Like, I got so excited and I felt immediately attached to that baby right then. And as soon as I took the other one and it said the word pregnant, I was floored. I was shocked because we had just started trying. Literally that month, I will never forget sitting in a hotel room because we were away for business with Cody, which is my husband, if you don't know that. And I had seen somebody on YouTube like film their entire trying to get pregnant journey, and I was like, oh, this is so sweet, and this is such a good thing to hold on to, and your baby can like watch it later on in life. And I wanted to film all of that, so I literally sat down that day and I'm like, if you're seeing this, then we're pregnant. And I was sharing the ovulation test that I bought, the basal body temperature thing that I bought, and the apps I was using. I shared all of that, and we got pregnant that month. And I took a pregnancy test 2 days before my birthday, which also happens to be my grandma's death anniversary, which was probably a bad idea that I took it that day because, I mean, at the moment, it was like, it felt so good. And I remember vlogging, like I was vlogging going to get more pregnancy tests while Cody was asleep. He was on night shift, so he was asleep while I went to get some tests. And I remember like having that moment where I was speaking to God, and I'm like, you gave us this wonderful sweet blessing, and we found out on this day, and this was such a sad day when we lost my grandma. And to me that was like, it was I don't know, it was just such a sweet moment for us to have that moment. So when I got to tell Cody, I had all of that filmed, me showing him, and we both cried because we were both shocked. And for the fact that it to be the day that it was very sweet. So I got to be pregnant for a whole week, and in that moment, like in that week, I was pregnant, you know, like I had already started like making registry lists, and we had already started making ideas. We were already going to like Lowe's and looking at closet systems for this room that I'm sitting in now. This was going to be the nursery. We called it the nursery room. And then one day I just said, I can't continue calling this the nursery room because it was making me sad. And I turned it into our studio, my studio. So I film in here now, and it was just, it got really sad for those almost 2 years of trying and nothing. So then I decided to finally go to the doctor and start, you know, figuring out what's wrong. Like, both of us are pretty healthy people. We don't have like nothing wrong with us, so trying to figure out what's wrong. So I went and done blood work and some ultrasounds and stuff done, like the pelvic ultrasounds, which are not fun. And I had already experienced one of those when I had a miscarriage, and they went in looking for the baby and all of that. So we miscarried April 6, 2017, and it was so sad. I don't care how long it's been, and the fact that I'm pregnant right now, it's still very sad, which is why I don't like talking about it. And I've only been able to talk about it to a handful of people, and I can't really talk in person. It's only ever been through text because it's just very hard. The first person that knew about it, well, obviously Cody knew about it, because as soon as I seen some spotting that morning, I went and I called the doctor. I had already called the doctor that week prior when I found out, to go ahead and like make an appointment. So I had my 8-week ultrasound appointment already made, and then that following week is when we lost it. So I went ahead and called them and let them know what was going on, and they're like, spotting is normal, it's okay, watch the color of it and the heaviness of it, and if it gets any worse, you need to go to the emergency room. So I'm like, I'm praying and I'm crying, and I go wake Cody up and I let him know what's going on. And he's like, we're sort of very sadly like sort of moping around the house that day. And I went to the bathroom like clockwork, constantly checking, and he asked if he wanted me to stay home from work and not go into work, and I told him no, it was going to be okay and to go into work. And as soon as he got to work, it takes him about 45 minutes to get there. I had to call him and tell him to come back because the bleeding had picked up and it was pretty bad. And I had to call my best friend. Nobody knew I was pregnant but Cody and the doctors. But I had to call my best friend. My best friend's a nurse, and anytime something's like wrong or anything, I call Kelsey. So I had to call Kelsey, and I said, I don't know what to do. I'm scared, and I hadn't planned on telling you like this, but I'm pretty sure I'm miscarrying. And she was so calm. And that's why I love her so much, because when I'm so crazy, she's calm, and when she's crazy, I'm calm. But he came back like that, and he came and got me, and we went to the hospital, and I will never forget it. There was such a rude male nurse there that night. There was a little baby out, like in the, not the lobby, but like the lobby of the emergency room, kind of. He was sitting outside of my room, and he was crying, and I'm assuming he was sick, because he was in a little, whatever they call it, a little gown thing. And I'm sitting in there, and he's like, that makes you not want one of them, doesn't it? And when he said that, because the baby was crying, I wanted to punch him so bad. And I'm like, this baby could cry for the rest of its life, and I would still want it. How dare you? You know what I'm here for. Like, how dare you even say something like that? I will never, ever, ever forget that. Like, it is forever engraved in my memory what he said. And then the doctors came in, and they gave me false hope. And I understand that they like need to go through all the things and let you know what's going on. But she told me that my body could just be rejecting the baby because maybe it has a different blood type than I did. So they went and they draw blood, and they did some more tests, and I was there forever. And the bleeding, of course, had picked up. I was constantly going to the bathroom. They had me take everything off, so I'm like constantly going back and forth to the bathroom because I had to keep wiping, because I just felt so like, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on down there, and I wasn't really hurting. I didn't really have any cramping or anything. It was more, I feel like because I was just so emotionally distressed, and I feel like I was on an adrenaline rush or something. I never felt any pain. And I've watched people's videos about miscarriage to kind of like make me feel like I'm not alone. And they were talking about how painful it was. And I don't know if I was just so sad and kind of depressed that I really didn't feel any pain. I felt a little bit by the time we got home. But then like I got excited because I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's it. They're going to be able to fix it. Maybe the baby does have a different blood type, and they'll be able to fix that, and they can do whatever they're supposed to do. And then she came in later to tell me that that wasn't the case, and I was miscarrying, and I was naturally miscarrying. They wouldn't have to do a D&C or anything like that. And when she said that, I feel like the wind was knocked out of me. And I don't really know what she said after that. Cody kind of had to like listen for me, because I didn't want a thing to do with them, because in my eyes, they gave me false hope, and they gave me, I mean, you know, they gave me a possibility that everything was going to be okay, and it wasn't. So it was very sad, and everything I watched on TV, because that's literally pretty much all I done was lay and watch TV. It was just not, everything reminded me what was going on. Like, I remember watching, I would literally try to boycott anything that I thought would bring up a baby or anything like that. And I was watching New Girl because it's funny, and you know, it's very lighthearted, and I assumed I had already been watching so many seasons. And if you've watched New Girl, then you probably know the episode that I'm talking about, where and if you haven't, I'm sorry, maybe you should fast forward because I don't want to ruin it for you. But Cece finds out she's pregnant, and I'm sitting there and I just bawled. I remember just boo-hooing, and Cody gets the remote and he turns it, and I'm just like, the one show that I thought I could watch and not feel like I was just punched in the gut. It just sucked. Everything sucked. Every time I'd get online, it sucked, because everybody back home was announcing they were pregnant, and here I have to watch them on Facebook. I started turning all of my social media notifications off so I wouldn't go looking, because I would be mad, I would be sad, I would be jealous. There were so many emotions that I could not figure out how to juggle. And I feel like I finally got a grasp of it around the end of last year. And I was able to congratulate other women that were getting pregnant, because at that point, before, I couldn't. There was just like something in me that could not congratulate them. I was so jealous and filled with so much anger and sadness. I had just so many emotions, I didn't know what to do with them. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to like, yes girl, like I'm used to being supportive. And that wasn't me. And I didn't feel like myself. And I didn't want y'all to know something was going on. So I literally did not put down the camera. Like, I kept working and I kept doing things because I did not want y'all to know because then I would have to face it. I couldn't even tell my parents, and I felt so bad because how could I tell them that they've lost something that I didn't even know they had? I felt so terrible. That was not my plan, and that's one of the reasons I didn't want to wait this time, because if that was in God's plan, I wanted them to know that it existed. And if God decided that we weren't ready, or that wasn't our time, then it would be fine, because obviously here I am 2 years later, and it is fine. Am I still sad? Absolutely. When I see certain stuff, when December rolls around, because that would have been our due date, it makes me a little sad. I don't like break down anymore like I did before, and that's totally understandable. If you have those feelings and you just need to cry, honey, just cry. If it's going to make you feel better, do whatever it is that makes you feel better. And I will say that it made our relationship so much stronger. Cody was there through the entire thing, and he made me feel like, you know, my feelings weren't crazy, because I really felt like I was losing my mind sometimes because I had these feelings towards other people and I couldn't control them. Regardless of what happens with this pregnancy, I want to come forward and finally open up and talk about it. Am I ready to hear people, what you're going to say to me? Probably not. That was why I avoided it. I don't know if I'll leave the comments open or if I'll close them. I don't know, because that was one of the main reasons. I don't want sympathy. I don't want pity. I don't want people feeling sorry for me. I don't want your help. Like that. That's the kind of person I am. I am a do-it-yourself kind of girl, and that is why I did not want to open up about this, because I didn't want everybody and their mama and grandma to try to give me remedies and tell me how to fix it, because there's nothing to fix it. The only fixer has been Jesus, and he has definitely helped clean my heart up, and he's made me such a better person. And I feel like, as sad as that was for me to go through, I would not be where I am in my relationship with God if it hadn't been for that, because in that moment I leaned on him so much, and I still do, because I didn't quite understand that. I never thought that I would have a miscarriage. Like it says, I think that 1 in 4 women will have one, and I never thought that I would be that one, you know? And it's just a scary thing. It's a natural thing that I keep reminding myself of. It's natural. Nothing we did caused it, and nothing you did, if you're going through the same thing, caused it. Don't feel like it was your fault or your husband's fault. It was not. But know that you are loved. You are loved by God, and he will support you in all of this. If you have any negative, depressed feelings, run to him, because he made me feel better each and every time. I know that that's a lot for me to say that, but trust me, I know how you feel, and these last 2 years have been so hard. They've been so hard, but they got a little bit easier. And this baby was not planned at all, and that is so funny to me, because I literally tried to plan everything with this, and God came in and was like, nope, I have a plan, and it's always better than mine. So we are just very blessed, and I hope that this helps somebody, and I hope that maybe this answered some of your questions as to why each and every time y'all ask me about a baby, it would hurt my feelings. I'm sorry that I've deleted some comments in regards to having babies, and it wasn't because I didn't like your comment. It was just because I didn't want to have that conversation, and I didn't want to open that conversation up for other people, because obviously I, you know, wanted that for us, and I know y'all did too. Like y'all's the one taking care of it. But I'm gonna stop rambling now. And I just wanted to, hopefully that answered some of your questions as to when it was and what happened and all of that. I know as soon as that pregnancy announcement went up and I mentioned it in there, a lot of you would be very confused, because that was the first time you had ever heard about it. So I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.
I've been dreaming about you. Every night I see you clear as day. It's just something about the way you make me feel, 'cause I can't concentrate.